It is so easy to get caught up in the pressures of creating the picture-perfect holiday season between giving the best gifts, cooking the perfect dinner, and then showing it all off on social media. It can become very stressful and might even leave you in a bad place financially. Mental health expert Calissa Ngozi joins me now with advice on how to say no to holiday pressure without feeling guilty about it. Great to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
So let's go through this. Where do you think that perfectionism and that feeling of I've got to do the most comes from?
Well, I mean, I think historically, Christmas is always about magic, right? It's about family time and creating those memories. But we are now in this world of consumerism where it's about stuff. It's no longer about experiences. And the kids are feeling that, right? They're having comparison syndrome. And it's really unfortunate because not everybody is the same and can provide the same.
So let's say maybe you can't keep up. You look at the budget and you know, I cannot afford all the things that I'd like to buy, all that stuff. How do you explain this to your family and start that conversation so that guilt isn't part of it?
Well, no is a complete sentence, but you have to be compassionate about it. And I think telling your kids that, listen, mommy and daddy or partners or whoever, you know, we can't afford maybe normally what we have. And that's okay. But you need to tell them that maybe we can have experiences instead. What does this look like? Not every family can have a Pinterest Christmas. You know, we see on social media a lot of like TikTok influencers that are promoting certain things, but that's not realistic for most of us. I mean, we're in an economic crisis right now. Christmas looks different for all of us.
You've got some great tips on the screen here. I love this first one. Frame it as a family choice, not as failure.
Yeah, you're not failing because you can't get your kid an Xbox. And, you know, just because the family down the street can afford something doesn't mean that your kids are going to suffer. But you have to also understand that kids are going to go to school. They're going to talk about what they got, what they didn't get. So what's the conversation that we're going to have? How are we going to reframe it so that it's inclusive instead of exclusive?
A lot of that, I think, can come down to even role-playing those conversations.
Absolutely. And disappointment is a part of life. And I think sometimes families have forgotten that because we're trying to always keep up. You know what? Let me work those extra hours. I'll do whatever I need to do so that my kids feel like they're not missing out. But really, you're doing a disservice to them, you know, when that happens.
So let's talk about like prepping the kids for that. So when your kids are heading back to school, you know, like comparison sets in, you just said it. Everyone's talking about what they got. And in fact, in a lot of classroom settings, I think that's a conversation starter. What did you get over Christmas, right?
Yeah.
How do we prep our kids to handle that in a way that they might not be ready for yet? They might still be little.
Yeah, I mean, like you've got kids in JK, you've got kids in grade 7, it's gonna look differently. So you make sure that it's age appropriate and have conversations of, listen, you know, Tommy at school might not have had a great Christmas like you did, or maybe you didn't have a great Christmas in terms of what your friends think. But we really need to be excited about the fact that we were able to spend time as a family. You know, maybe we did experiences, you know, different things. Christmas is going to look different to different people, and we need to be accepting.
There's lots of situations where with our kids, we talk about different families, different rules.
Yes.
It's the same kind of idea, different families, different experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people don't even celebrate Christmas, and we have to remember that in the conversation.
What are some options that you can give for someone who's listening now that might be more accessible or more affordable for families to consider over the holiday season?
Holiday season things don't always need to cost money. So maybe it's about making hot chocolate, you know, going and looking at the lights, do-it-yourself crafts, you know, things that are tangible, maybe board game nights. You need to make sure that your kids are aware that Christmas looks different all the time, but we're still gonna make it a fun experience because really we're building core memories.
And the last one there on the screen, I love that. Volunteer together. That is such a huge part of this. We talked, especially on Giving Tuesday, we talked about giving back in ways that you could. And for some people, that isn't financial, that is time.
Absolutely. And I think kids often forget if they don't see it that some people are less fortunate. So as a family unit, how can we give back? So it's volunteering maybe at the unhoused shelters, you know, maybe soup kitchens. It's about looking at maybe some of the older toys that are in great condition and donating them to families in need.
Oh, so many great tips. It's great to have you. Happy holidays. Thanks for coming in.